Neighbour 55. So, I had terrible tech problems and I had to go and invest in a new phone. So, in case something starts beeping or whatnot, excuse me this time around. But I'm just waiting for people to come on and I'm checking with my old phone to see if this is happening, this is live, this is working, so on and so forth. And as usual, we'll just wait a little while for the internet to do its thing and people to log on. So, whilst you're waiting, as a quick recap, the Hello Neighbor series is a series that I started to honor the work of Fred Rogers. And for those of you who don't know who Fred Rogers is, I suggest Wikipedia or YouTube or something like that. But he was a very beloved children's television personality, and his work spanned decades, reaching millions of people. And he was a very gentle man. He was, I believe, a reverend by training, and he decided that his way of changing the world was creating programming that children could understand and to speak to them in ways that other adults at the time did not. And whilst I'm not talking to children, I do find, well, generally not, but I do find merit in the way this soul decided to navigate the world and how he adapted technology and the visual format to teach very profound lessons. And you can get an idea of what he did. But the Hello Neighbor series is very much inspired by the concept that Fred Rogers pioneered, essentially. And so, over the course of time, the series has been in existence. It's helped a lot of people, especially through the global isolation that COVID brought about for all of us. And I know that so many of you have felt a greater sense of community through what we do here. So, this isn't the heavy duty astrological slash spiritual talk unless you need it to be that. But it's also a space for us to just chill out, hang out, say hi to cats. As you know, I have fall now with my brother. And, or just talk about general things. So, having said that, reminding people what this is about, let's turn it to you. Let's see what's going on. Let me see comments. Let me see questions. Let me just see what stuff you might want to share as members of the community. I see Nacha. Hello, Nacha. Good to see you. I see VB. Anything fun going on? Anything you'd like to talk about or share? Just let me know. Um, tomorrow we do have a big event. We do have a big event. The little fellows needs to go get spayed, and I was actually looking at the astrology for the next couple of days, and this part is a bit heavy. I just looked at it and I kind of went, no way, we're getting it done now. One of the reasons I say that is because the lunar eclipse coming up is going to be directly aspecting Therius the hunter stalker, and you know how much I like him. Not. But this is really a time where we really need to be taking care of the little details of life, those things that you've been putting off, those things that if you did, you would actually be healthier, be happier, or just have a little bit more organization and flow in your life. Get that stuff done now. We've also got, a Mars retrograde just hovering, just looming, just trying to slow the pace of things down, just around the corner. And it's a time where we really just need to be pacing ourselves. As I told all of you in the very beginning of the year, the end of the year is where a lot gets done. And some of you might be going, but there's a Mars retrograde. What does she mean by that? If you look at the other alignments, you will see what I mean. The Mars retrograde coming up is going to force us to pace things. So do what you can get done now. And as you see the weeks progressing, you will see the need to take that time to go slow, to breathe, to look, to think, to revisit, step by step, bit by bit. There's an awful lot of shadow work that is happening right now that is going to be, very, very intensely felt by the global collective. And this is exactly why we need those strategic actions, those pauses, those silences. I mean, just because you can say something doesn't mean it needs to be said. Just because you can do something doesn't mean it needs to be done. So take the time, pace it, pace it, pace it, get what you need to do, what needs to happen now, and make sure your schedule is ideally clear around the time of the lunar eclipse so you can respond to whatever comes up in the best way possible. So having said that, I see Chiron. Hello, Chiron. Chiron is my dear friend. And there are aspects astrologically to do with Chiron as well. But Chiron is my dear friend, and I'm very glad to see them. What's going on with everyone? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to talk about? Hello, Neighbor is more about the community than what I have to share. So, bring it in a good way, and let's see what we can get up to. One of you did ask me what is my hair growth secret. I assure you, nothing beyond time and not thinking about it at all, just because I've been focused on other stuff. I was quite proud. We actually managed to get a new phone, got something done today. Despite a lot of pains and aches and whatnot, we pulled together, and we got everything to happen, which was good. Um, but yeah, just baby steps, navigating life, baby steps. So I see 24 people online, and only 4 have said something. Come on, it's hello, neighbor. I see N Black. Hello, fam. How are you? How is everyone? What are you up to? How's everyone feeling? Let me know. Let me know. Don't be shy. I mean, I will be doing more regular astrological videos, but I just wanted to give us an opportunity to hang. Chiron says, so happy to see you and hear you are feeling better. It has been an insane road to recovery, but slowly. But at least I can show my face, which is good. Uh, pronounce that name right. She say, greetings to everyone, crossing my fingers for last minute student loan cancellation, hoping so for you as well. Antonis says, hi, Dr. and y'all. Hi. Goddess says, hello from Houston, Texas. Hello. Bibi says, how do you think is change of place to live now? Um, I would say vet the place. I mean, is this a new decision, or is this something you've already been thinking of and you've already committed to? If it's a brand new decision right now, I'd be like, hold your horses just a bit. But if it's something that you've already been planning, that's a different case. Veronica says, so glad you're feeling strong about it. Thank you so much. As I said, it has been wild, but at least now I'm confident I'm going to stick around for a couple of Saturn cycles at least. So we'll see. Nacha says, often I rely on signs to help guide me where to go and what to do. And the signs are usually right or helpful, but lately they've been mismatching my intuition and I find it confusing. Any advice? This is a very good question. So, as most of you know, I talk about Boracisi, which I believe is, well, you can look it up. I think is it either 52666 or 25666. I can't recall at the minute. But it's an energy that very much deals with false illumination. And that energy is very strongly squaring the galactic center right now. So you finding signs that are, this is supposed to look holy, but it doesn't feel right, is very much in alignment with the skies right now. Continue following your intuition. I was quite worried about, scheduling the surgery for tomorrow, but my gut was like, no, it will be fine. And then the other part of me went, shall I confirm with a tarot read? And I got the immediate guidance, A, you don't need it. And B, no, just ask direct. So for me, that was the best. I'm not dissing tarot or anything, it's very useful. But on my part, for me at this time, it was very clear, follow your intuition and connect within to get clarity on the answer. So if you're seeing external signs that are not in alignment with it, bear in mind that energy can be moved by anything and anyone. And not everything that presents itself as a sign is necessarily good for you or anybody else. Because there's a hell of a lot of things out there that are looking for vessels. So be very discerning, and it's good that you could see the mismatch. Um, Seven Cap Sun Moon says, hi, Dr. B, so good to see you. Thank you so much. Candy sends hearts. Kairan says, I'm cleaning my basement now, trying to get all my little things done. Sounds like I'm on track, law. Yes, it does. Lan says, buenos dias from Detroit. Buenos dias to you. Adrienne said, well, I guess it's Buenos noches here. Adrienne says, hello, Dr. B. Love. Hello, Adrienne. Nice to see you. No turn unstoned. Says, greetings. Greetings. Genevieve says, hi, beautiful Dr. B. It's so good to see you. I've been praying for you. Amazing. I love you. Thank you so much. And thank you for the prayers. I know it helped me and my family. Sometimes just people, good people, wishing well for you is more than enough. Vivi says already decided and moving. Then you should be fine, but just make sure that you don't take any shortcuts in where, in safety as you are moving. No shortcuts. And like say, just praying hands or the raised hands high. Shania says, glad to catch this one as well as the previous one live. Even more glad that you are doing better. Thank you so much. It has been a ride. But yes, yes, yes. I did actually have some fairly bad news, and it took me a while to process it. I don't know if you recall, but earlier this year, around about February, I went to an island. It was as far away as I could get from the mainland as possible, but my guidance told me no, go there. So I did fine. And I went there and I saw this heroic story of a little boy cat and a little girl cat, Bobby and Chomel. Chomel means cute. And they were fighting this black cat that literally looked like some demon in a comic book, a white cat. And it was not a good thing. It was just one of those very negative things that had found the body of a cat. And that dude was running after this little thing called Cutie. And she was a small ball of fluff, not even sexually active. So her little brother Bobby was protecting her, and he had little scars and everything. But they're very close and very cute. And it had been going on for a month. And I was there, and I took one look at the guy, and I started praying. And the black cat looked at me, and he did not like what he saw. And then he turned and ran. And shortly after that, they transported him off the island to make sure the little girl cat would be safe. So once in a while, I keep in touch, and I hadn't spoken to them in a couple of months just because I hadn't spoken to anybody. If I've been ignoring messages or emails, it's nothing, absolutely nothing personal. I have just not even had the energy to say hello. So finally, I went, oh, okay, I should say hi to them. Circumcised. And oh no, it's spayed for cats, sorry, not circumcised, it's spayed. And someone was careless or something happened and he went missing. And my gut tells me that guy is fine. But the little girl who was very boisterous is now just sitting really sadly, and she also lost the litter. So I've been sending prayers and protection and so on for her, but that was one of those little nudges going, no, no, get back to work, get back to work. You are needed, get back to work. But I did find that out, and when I first found out, I didn't eat, and I just cried. And that's all I could do. But things like this are happening all around the world. And you know what I'm like about cats? They are people, probably more people than most people to me. And well, that was something that I'm still processing. But this is coming up. There's so many stories where we should shed a tear, where we should take the time to feel, to process, to grieve, to acknowledge. So, and Sharanya says, currently exiting professional arrangement with a narcissist. Good for you. Very, very good for you. Avi Wax says, burrows from other blanket pine hide storm felt witch. I know, I know. Tijio says, also Neighbour says, any know of spiritual entities? I'm not reading that out. Address on the dream. To be honest, they can wear anything. They can wear anything, they can wear any clothes. I myself often see all kinds of weird entities in dreams that try to look as holy as possible, and I'm looking at it going, no. So yes, it's very possible, and a lot of things are shape-shifting into others. So be very careful with placing a label or a name for it. Vivi says, Sharanya says, to Sharanya, it surely is challenging. Hope you navigate it with care. Hope so too as well, my dear. And Black says compassion. Exactly. That is exactly the word. I mean, where irrespective of where you are, where I am, where we are on our personal journeys, it is nothing if we cannot afford to show some care in a situation that is safe. Sometimes, for some people, it's not even safe to even show that. Like if you're escaping a relationship or cutting away from, family members who are very, very not what you can show compassion. Veronica says, I just adopted a girl cat. She's 1 and 1/4 years old. I'm not crazy with the name she came to me with. Is it okay to change her name? Ask her, and it should be fine. VB says, I had to leave a previous job with a toxic and violent manipulative boss. There's a lot of these around, aren't there? It feels like most of the people in positions of power, whether it's a business or whether there's probably something wrong with them. Most of the time. Most of the time. Desire says this may well mark the end to toxic relationships. That would be a good thing. That would be a good thing. But there's a lot of people who basically keep their emotional engine running on the worst kind of fuel. So we'll see. But yeah, that's what's going on. It's really just important to recognize all of this stuff. And in that space where you've got grief, where you've got not even sympathy, but when you have compassion, it's a bit more than feeling sympathetic. You are feeling that pain together. Empathy is probably a closer term for it. But in that space of empathy, it's also important to know that, grief and creativity need to be seen as two sides of the same coin. If you allow yourself to kind of shrink inwards because of grief, you also need to be doing something outwards to balance that in different ways. At least that's what I have found that has worked. I did take a slight leave of absence from my duties as a pirate captain. Everyone's a little worried, but yeah, I just didn't feel like I did not feel ready to go and do that at that point. Let's see. Vivi asks, what do you think we have to be cognizant about? I like that word, cognizance. About during the next 2 months, Dr. B. Let's see. The next 2 months. I think this is my feeling more than anything else. I think okay, to put it in a single line, old karma is going to be knocking, and it's going to be knocking really hard, and it's going to be asked to be let in. And we just basically just have to keep saying, no, this is not it. One of the big things that's also happening in addition to, Mars retrograde is Jupiter retrograding back into Pisces. Between now and December, around about a few days from now to December the 20th, we are going to be seeing a lot of old patterns, old karma, old relationships, old spiritual ideals, old spiritual energies coming back wanting space. And we just have to keep saying no. And it's really difficult to say no because we're all so used to doing things in a particular way. And actually allowing ourselves to do things in a new way is going to liberates us. But that means we have to say no. One of the things that makes people who are change makers, who are believers, who are spiritualists so uncomfortable is sometimes making another person uncomfortable because most of us are not assholes. We do not like other people in pain. But we keep needing to say no to the old because the old has not worked. The old has led to this global system of dysfunction. And we need to continue saying yes to what does, what works in new ways that we have not yet fully embodied. So that's the big theme. Say no to the old that does not work. Say yes to what allows you to go to where you need to be. Not just knowing American opulence says, Dr. B, so happy to see you. Thank you. I feel like I'm busting out of a cocoon. That's very good. Nacha says, really struggling and processing grief. Had an experience where I knew someone was going to say this today. Spirit told me this earlier today, but I knew someone was going to say it. I'm not surprised it was you. I had an experience recently where I attended a big public ritual, felt like I accidentally opened myself to channeling the unprocessed grief of the world. Why would you do this? Why? You know, But that also brings me to a very important point. If you are doing any spiritual work, whether it's me, whether it's someone else, whether it's a public ritual, whether it's a private ritual, unless it is absolutely essential, do not do it. It doesn't matter how holy somebody says they are. Do not do anything spiritual unless your spirit 100% literally screams for it. If it's not screaming and saying, do this now, don't even consider it. Do not mess with anything in the next few weeks. That's another key point. Overflow says, hi, Dr. B. Hi, everyone. Hello. Brandon Lewis says, wow, I can't believe I caught you live. We're all grateful for your wisdom and time. Thank you so much. And thank you always for your well wishes and your support. I've been seeing your message. Black says, it seems as if a veil of some kind has been and everything can be so clear and understood. Scorpio season, baby. Scorpio season. What do you message me? Oh God, you went to Santa Fe, right? Now that is a place with a whole bunch of psychic energy swirling about, unprocessed. Yeah, no. Go sit in TOC in some, hot spring water and you'll be fine. Brandon says my birthday is 17th of November. I'm a Scorpio. Very nice, very nice. Antonis says that's why I avoid big public rituals and rituals overall. Very smart. Carolina says, hi Dr. B, so good to see you live. So good to see you too. We have Day of the Dead coming up and there will be several Aztec dance ceremonies. I'm considering attending a small one to dance and offer prayers up. Now, Carolina brings up a very good point. There are some custodians of indigenous traditions that actually know what the hell they are doing. And then there are also members of indigenous groups who do not. So if you are called to doing anything that works with these older teachers, again, to listen to your intuition, see if they are still holding the energy or whatever they need to hold in a clean way. And if don't do it. And if they can hold it in a clean way, if they can connect you to an ancestral space that is not expecting you to be a slave or servant to it, and then do whatever you want with it. So that would be the caveat that I have there. You got to look at the gatekeepers and whether or not they are actually allowing themselves to open to the new, or are they recycling the old. Vivi says, who do black magic are the most stupid people that you can. One, karma is real and exists. Sentence. So yes, people do it, but they are doing it with a very limited understanding of what it is they are doing to themselves. The person who actually survives it and the person who gets stronger for it will hold you to account, whoever is doing it. So yeah, that happens, but we're pretty much idiots. So that's my opinion. Let's see. Nacha says, yes, I might have to leave this place soon. Was going to try to get through the winter. Move. If you are in Santa Fe, move. I know who Nacha is, which is why I'm saying it. I'm not saying that for everybody. And Black says, beware of the fake commercial spirituality going around. Very, very true. Kautar says, hello, Sky Priestess. Hello, love. Venezia says, great advice, Dr. B. Saw past video where you said energetic boundaries. BB said, is it buffering? I hope not. Brandon says, the energy has been extremely intense and heavy. I've been feeling it all. You would, especially as a Scorpio. There is so much happening in Scorpio in the next few weeks. Just take it a day at a time. Don't take on problems that are not your own. Hold yourself accountable for what you engage in and what you allow into your space as much as you possible. Let's see. N Black says, Dr. B, why do they seem to hold elections and governmental changes during fixed seasons? Probably because it's the fixed signs have a certain way of holding power in a particular form. So, it is either to reinforce power or to challenge it. Let's see. Lannis says, the internet connection is janky. Another reason I know you're telling the truth. This is the thing. I have to keep my frequency and my emotions like here, right? Because the moment I actually start to open up, technology doesn't work. So most of the time I have to just like focus on here and open up when I'm not doing anything public, because technology, it does not handle psychic work very well. So I appreciate my clients who understand that. And, fans and followers. Nacha says, okay, thank you. Panchar says, hello, hello. Brandon, Rita. Vivi says, any advice for mental well-being? Cut out the crap that does not help your mental well-being. That is one of the biggest things. Let it go. The rest tends to fall in place because most of the time people hold on to what hurts them, either because the thing hurting them is promising them some sense of identity, some sense of continuity, some sense of certainty. And when you are able to let go of that, whatever is promised to you by holding on to those connections, that is when you actually start to have the freedom to be who you are anyway the whole time. So it's about, again, letting it go. I know I keep saying that, but it is really the biggest lesson right now. Stella says, peace, Sky Princess. It's been so long. I've missed your smile. Hope you're doing well. I'm trying. I am trying. And Max says, Dr. Bleep has the glow. I got the touch. Transformers 1986 fans will know what I'm talking about. Panchar says, where are you from? I'm from Myanmar. I'm from Malaysia. Nice to meet you. Sharon says, what do you mean when you say the BM survivor will hold you to account? When you, BM survivor, that's a good word. Eventually, when everyone reaches the end of their existence, there is a period of review, and there are beings that are in charge of this review. Different beings are allotted to different civilizational beliefs, and it is there where you state your case. So that's when, yeah, they're going to be held to account. And this is the thing, in this day and age, in this time, there is divine justice that is happening, though it's not happening in a way which is so immediate. But in little ways, in little circumstances, I do see it helping people directly. So, and in that sense, as you plead your case, as you could say inform, but the divine already knows what's going on. But as you articulate what has happened, what have you endured, who are you, what is the circumstances of your being, your energy will be assessed in a certain way. So too will the energy of the one who has harmed you. In that sense, that is what I'm referring to. Chiron says, I am the heart of my Saturn return. Saturn RX hovering over my natal degree all of October. Any general advice oh, for this last stretch? Okay. Just give me a second. I will return to that in a second. Suki, sad news. Saint David passed away. Just got confirmation. Love you. High vibes, darling. When did he pass away? Because I was looking at his photograph yesterday. Let me know on Instagram, Suki. David is a very sweet, very beautiful soul who took me around to, when I was in New Mexico, he took me to Abiquiu, and he took me to Ghost Ranch, or Ghost Farm, whatever it's called. And I had one of the nicest days of my life with this Mexican gentleman who absolutely knew nothing about me, and he kept me 100% safe. And he took me around, and he drove me around, and Suki, my dear friend, tells me that he has just passed away. Whew. Way to hit me with that live, Suki. All right, I'm going to need to take time with that, but tell me more on Instagram. Okay, Chiron says, I'm hard my Saturn return. General advice. General advice, Chiron, is to keep your nose clean. Don't put your energy where it doesn't need to be. That's probably what I would tell you, and don't get your head stuck in mental loops, you in particular. Okay, Aluxa, is that how I say that name? Hello, I'm also attending a Day of the Dead ceremony, very nice, at a cemetery with Aztec dancers, drummers, and copal incense is burning constantly. Very nice. I mean, quite a few of you participate in indigenous traditions from South America, Mexico, so on and so forth. There's quite a lot of you who follow this channel. Brown gets black, black gets brown. We kind of understand because there is a certain universality among certain cultures, especially indigenous cultures. And so we kind of speak each other's language and vibe in a very similar way, which is not to exclude anyone, just sometimes some things you just get a lot faster. Panjar says you speak English well. Thank you very much. I like your song. I do I have a song? But thank you. Nacha says Ghost Ranch, beautiful place. Sorry for your loss, Suki and Dr. P. Yeah, she just hit me with that. We will see. More to process. I was hoping I would get to see him again. He's the person that took me to all kinds of places in New Mexico, Chimayo, and fuck. Sorry, I shouldn't be saying that live, but oh, she had to do it now. But anyways, Lannis says, I heard there was a paradigm shift into Venus star rising. What does that mean, and should we be doing this if it is correct? Venus star rising paradigm shift. Well, Venus goes through several different cycles. And I mean, it's very important whenever she does finish a cycle. It's a different turn of a wheel, it's a different chapter, but I would not say that it's going to be a huge paradigm shift for that alone. I mean, the number of times people have talked about breakthrough paradigm shifts since 2012, especially, the word has lost all meaning. You know, the word has pretty much lost all meaning. Venus, in terms of the Western tropical system, Venus was with the eclipse in Scorpio. In other systems, it will be different, but I don't necessarily see this as a big cause of global change. Venus does her dance, and it is an important dance, but it's not the end all be all. There are many, many other factors that also go into it. Um, Chiron says, I'm so sorry to hear about your friend. Thank you, sweetheart. He's a very sweet, very beautiful, very wonderful person. So, he, I guess this is about death and grieving. Okay. Yeah, apparently David just passed away. Yeah, yeah. But we'll see. I have to go and do some talking after this. But beyond that, what else is going on? What else is happening? It's just that in this time, I would say it's very important. Huh? Pancha asks, can you teach me if I want to learn English? Ah, ah, you can listen to my videos if you want, but I'm not an English teacher. You might want to be looking at a different part of YouTube for that. But I appreciate the vote of confidence. But at this time, one of the things that, I mean, one of the deepest things that we need to understand is we are all making choices, you know? And sometimes it's not even, in fact, often the choices that shape our lives are the ones that we are not even consciously thinking about. Are the choices that our spirit continues to make, our psyche continues to make, often at a very, very subconscious level, which is why the thing we can do right now is strip it down, aim as far as possible. I think it's Jung who said, the goal of making the unconscious conscious. Well, take that as the goal at this time. Strip it all down. Continue to see what are those motivations that are so foundational to your being that you don't even know that you're doing them. Strip it all down and go back to the core would really be the work at this time. But it's not easy to do, especially when you revisit a lot of those things. You end up seeing certain parts of yourself, thoughts that you may have had about your identity, your family, your community, your history. All of those stuff may not actually reflect who your soul is. Sometimes it's a fix and a match, and sometimes it's not. And very often people sabotage their inner work and their inner journey because they don't want to give certain things up. So especially with Scorpio season, it is about looking with that depth. It is about being willing to face what it is that needs to be transformed. And that's why people are scared shitless of Scorpio. That's why people are terrified, because they do not want to make certain changes. And it's tough. The actual work of spiritual awakening, there's a reason why a lot of them went to mountains and forests to be left alone, because it is incredibly difficult when you are holding on to a particular identity. And this isn't to single out any one culture, but it makes it a lot harder when you come from a belief system that says, I think, therefore I am. That's not what you are. That's just one facet of your personality and being. Going back to that I am that has nothing to do with your conscious thought or conscious self perception is not easy, especially when you've been programmed in a different way. Let's see. Oops, that was a tweak. Dennis says, okay, a dream that they had. Fair enough. Hard to comment on dreams. Dreams are always very subjective. And Enberg says, self awareness season. That's pretty much it. And just remember that awareness isn't about this. It's not about your conscious mind. It's not about your intelligence. It's not about what you learned or what you qualified in. It is something that comes from a much deeper, I don't want to use the word sentience. Maybe senescence is the right word. Let's see. Kautar says, a few weeks ago I learned the time I was born different from what I knew before. Does that mean I should discard all I learned before, all tips from session? No. It depends who you're working with. Some astrologers are very fixated on time and they go exactly on the basis of what that time shows. I might tweak it, but if I were to tell someone something, it comes from a deeper space of spirit. So if I was your reader, I would say don't disregard anything. It all remains valid. Because unless my spirit moves to say something, I'm not going to say it. But again, I don't know who's read your chart and I don't know how they operate. But even if it is with me, if you do have certain specific timings for transits, then you would have to disregard that because that is based on what house you have and how things move through that house or not. So specific timings would not be the same. Alexa says, I hope your friend's journey is blessed. Hugs. I hope so too. It better be. Knowing American opulence is when we realize an unhealthy emotional pattern, how do we start to reverse it? That is a huge question and not something that I can fully address in the scope of a Hello Neighbor, but there are plenty of people who have a whole ton of materials out there to help start working through that process. That doesn't even need to be a spiritual question. It can be better framed through psychology in some cases. Karta says, thank you so much. It was with me. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, I wasn't entirely sure. I didn't want to assume. Oh, that's a good question. Tatan X says, Dr. B, why do so many YouTubers obsess and teach the law of attraction? Teaching stuff like make him or her reach out, call to you, doesn't it violate the other person's free will? Depending on how powerful you are, it can. For me, it would be an annoyance rather than a violation, but people use spirituality the way kids look at computer games. Just because you can press a button and do this, that means you can do it. No, you can't. Just because you can do something does not mean that you should. A lot of people teaching this stuff are not thinking about the ethical considerations that spirituality requires or the actual spiritual consequences of their actions, which makes me ask the question of why are you listening to them? Not you in particular, but people who do. Karen says, hi, Dr. B. My birthday is the 8th of November. I'm assuming a day of eclipse and voting here in the US. 4 planets in Scorpio, always a day that feels intense for the all in first house. Jeez. Good to see you again. I miss your info. Nice to see you too, love, and I hope your birthday goes smooth. Vivi says, is this time when the people who have suffered can expect things to get better? In three-dimensional reality, probably not, because a lot has to change for this three-dimensional reality to shift. But if they are actually willing to open up to, can call it higher dimensionality, that's the fancy way, but if you're more willing to open up to spirit, universe, whatever, this is a time where people can have more opportunities and tools at their disposal. The outcome is something that is not in my hands to control. It is something that is between you and spirit. Knowing American opulence is much gratitude to you, Dr. B. Much success to you and your family. Thank you so much. Well wishes are welcomed. And as I have said before, sessions are open once again. You can access that at www.theskypriestess.as.me or just type in book a session with the Sky Priestess in Google and you will go straight to the page. So, back at work, finally. And, happy to share my offerings with people. Let's see. Having said that, I think we've done a good sesh today for Hello Neighbor. Got a couple of key bits out. And thank you all for participating. It's good to hear from all of you. I know it's been a bit of an absence, but you know what? That is proof of the family. That is proof of the community. So, and thank you all who have been steadfastly supporting me and my family through all of this. We are deeply grateful to all of you. And yeah, take care. Very many blessings. And cha cha for now. Bye bye.